Good morning, class. You got to do your language arts at home today. So I'm ready for our lesson. All right, here's what you need today. You need your Ways, Characters, Shapes, Stories book so we can find Snow White and look at that again today. And then you also need your spelling packet. So today we're doing the grammar pages on conjunctions. Dun, dun, dun. So you need to make sure that you have the one that says September 21st to 25th. It is in your Rockland Elementary blue folder that you'll be bringing back to school tomorrow. All right, let's get started, guys. I'm going to share my screen. Please make sure that you're being a really good listener, just like you would be in class. It's okay if you're watching this snuggled up in your blanket or even in your pajamas. I will never know. All right, guys, but as long as you're listening, we still need to be listening and learning. So here is our Ways, Characters, Shape, Stories book. You'll notice, remember on the front, we have King Midas and Marigold. We are going to turn to page 22. 22. There it is. 22 is the story that we've been doing. We have been learning about this Snow White, a Russian folk tale. It's kind of a sad story. That's what we found out when we finished reading it yesterday, that it's a little bit sad. So instead of going through and rereading the entire story today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and talk about kind of like a summary. So I'm going to look at what the underlined parts are and kind of retell this story like it is a summary. So I'm not going to reread the whole thing, but let's look at the important parts and then we can discuss the key events and details, okay? So in this Snow White Russian folktale, we know that Ivan and Marie, they're a married couple, right? They didn't have any children of their own, and they were so kind-hearted, and they liked watching children having fun, but they were sad they didn't have their own child. So then, I look on this page here, I see that he says, let's go in the garden and play too. So they go outside, and they make themselves I'm thinking you said snow child. Did you say snow child? They made a snow child. Here she is. Oh, it's like, that's much prettier than a snowman, I think, right? Oh my goodness. So they make this dainty, exquisite, lovely little snow child. She says, it's lovely. As they're making the snow child, a stranger comes down and is like, what are you doing? And they say, we're making a snow child. And then, as they stare at the snow child, all of a sudden, the eyelids start to quiver. And what happens? It comes to life. There stood before him a living child. That little snow child came to life. And look, Ivan and Marie are just staring like, oh my goodness, is this real? Is this real? Can this be? What does she say? Read it with me. I am Snow White, your little daughter. She threw her fairy-like arms around his neck and gave him a big hug. They weren't lonely anymore. Snow White, it also talks about how beautiful she was. Her hair was like silk. Her eyes were blue as the heavens, and her skin is white as snow. I'm actually going to put in the corner because this all kind of tells me that she's very beautiful. If you have your pencil on you, friends, I need you to write that. It's because that feels like something that they keep talking about, how her hair is like spun silk. They give us a lot of imagery. Remember that word, imagery? So kind of describing her in a very specific way so that we can kind of picture her in our heads about how beautiful she is. All right, once you've written very beautiful, if you need to pause, you may to write that. Then everybody was so happy to play with her, and she loved playing with all the kids in the spring, and it was so amazing. Remember, it kind of reminded me, not in the spring, in the winter. In the winter, she loved playing with all of the kids. It kind of reminds me of Olaf we talked about, right? The colder it was, the happier she seemed to be. So she was super happy when it was wintertime. All right, guys, at the bottom here, it says in the spring, that's when she got sad. Right? All of a sudden, she went from like playing with all the kids and loving everything, and everything was wonderful. And then the winter came, or I'm sorry, then the winter passed, and in the spring, the snow melted. And she was so sad. They said, "Are you ill?" They thought she was sick because she was so sad. And remember, it says all these kids kept coming out and wanting her to play. Snow White, come out and play. And remember, her parents kept making her go, even though she was reluctant. She always went reluctantly, meaning she didn't really want to. But she went and played with them anyway. Oh my goodness, and remember what happens at the end? They were having a festival and they were having so much fun, and they wanted Snow White to go out and play with them so badly. And her parents had her go, and she was still reluctant. She didn't want to play. And then what happened? They had that big bonfire, and Snow White jumped over the fire and vanished. She melted, right? So, oh my goodness, that was a big change from the beginning of the story, I think. A big change. All right, friends, a couple things we're going to do today really quickly. We are going to go back to the beginning of the story. We are going to talk about how these illustrations, see these illustrations are the drawings, right? Illustrations, we're going to talk about how they kind of help the story, how they help us understand things in the story. What do you think this illustration is trying to show us? It's a little tricky because you guys aren't here. I would say write it in the chat. So if you have an idea about what this illustration is trying to show us, I think it's trying to show us that these kids are so happy and having fun, and that it's really cold outside, right? They're having a lot of fun. Then I see this picture. I see Ivan and Marie. Do they look happy or sad? To me, it's showing that they're kind of sad. It kind of shows that they're looking out the window and they're feeling lonely because they don't have a child, right? I think that's what that illustration is showing me. This one, I love this illustration. This one is showing me how the winters are like really cold in Russia. Whoo, look at all that snow. I'm cold just looking at that picture. Do you feel cold just looking at that picture? It also shows how beautiful and dainty she is. Look how it's definitely different from the picture of this snowman, isn't it? They rolled that big snowman and they made her so dainty and exquisite. The next one, look, they look like they're in shock because she came to life. They're in shock, majorly in shock. She even has her mouth open like, what on earth? Oh, this is when they're just showing how much they love her in this picture, I think. This picture is really trying to show us that they really love this little girl that came to life and how beautiful she is. This picture is really important. What's she playing with? She's kind of playing with the icicle, right? She's holding the icicle. That picture kind of shows us that she is really liking cold things. And it gives us like a hint about how she's so comfortable in the cold that maybe she would only be able to be alive when it's winter. Olaf again. And then it shows in the spring she became sad. All right, here's more. Oh no, now look at her. She went from being so happy playing with the icicles. Now she's sad looking out a window. Just like how Ivan and Marie were in the beginning. She's looking out the window. It's turning into springtime, I can tell. That's what that picture's showing me. And she is super sad. And at the very end, it shows the kiddos it shows the warmth of the fire, right? That she can't be near. And it shows them kind of being surprised. Something else I noticed that was interesting to me in this picture was the way that they dressed, right? A long time ago in Russia. Look, it's interesting. Little boys wore things like that. Kind of cool, a different culture. All right, my friends. The other thing I was going to ask you about is how Snow White changes. And we'll talk about that tomorrow when you come to class too. But think about how she changes from the beginning to the end of the story. Well, not the very beginning. I guess in the middle of the story is when she came to life. How does she change from here to the end? to here even, just from these two pictures, right? I see there's a big change between how happy and wonderful and excited she is in the winter and how sad she became when it became spring. Interesting, right? All right, kiddos. So we are going to move on. You can close that page. I need you guys to look at your spelling packet. So in your spelling packet, spelling, vocabulary, and grammar. Today's the day we're doing some grammar pages. So you do have a vocabulary on your Google Classroom that I would like you to watch as soon as we're done, because it has some information on conjunctions and it will help you understand, right? And I love vocabulary because it's music and it kind of helps you with that understanding through that fun song. So please watch the vocabulary. You are in charge today of doing 2 pages. This page and this page. Listen to how serious this sounds, you guys. Subordinating conjunctions to form complex sentences. Doesn't that sound hard? Man, it sounds really hard, but it's not very hard. You guys, you can do this. All this means is that we are taking 2 simple sentences and we're gonna mush them together. And we're gonna take a little word and make it the glue. Now, you actually practiced this last week with Miss Hardy, so I know that you guys are masters. But some coordinating conjunctions that we're using this week, listen how smart you sound. The coordinating conjunctions, that's just another word for the glue that holds those 2 simple sentences together, right? The coordinating conjunctions we're using this week are although, because, if, when, before, and until. Right? Remember last week, I think it was and, so, or because. So we have some new ones this week. So let's do an example. Here is the simple sentence. I loved the movie, period. It was really exciting, period. All right, 2 sentences, one here, one here. What do we got to do? Put them together. I got to put them together. And I need a little glue to hold them together. Sentence here, sentence here. We're going to put the glue in the middle with the one word, putting it together. Here we go. They chose to have the glue word be because. So there's no more period. We took it out. We made those sentences into one sentence. We made those 2 sentences into one sentence. I loved the movie because it was really exciting, right? So let's find a word that can fit in the middle of here to connect these 2, right? So please stop at the store. It's out of your way. Please stop at the store if it's out of your way, or please stop at your store when it's out of your way. Please stop at the store before it's out of your way. Please stop at the store although it's out of your way. Do you remember we also talked about how different conjunctions can also fit? Okay, so if you choose, you just have to choose one that makes the most sense to you. Kim brushes her teeth, blank, she goes to sleep. I'm thinking before on that one. Kim brushes her teeth before she goes to sleep, right? All right, kiddos, so you're going to choose the correct answer between although, because, if, when, before, until. Bam. Other side. Now you are taking these 2 sentences and you are going to make the glue. So Miss Hardy will do the first one and you can do the rest. Carla can go to bed at 9 o'clock. She's in 3rd grade now. I'm going to say Carla can go to bed at 9 o'clock. Remember, this is when you might run out of room and you might have to do it kind of small underneath. At 9 o'clock. Because she is in 3rd grade now. Now, this one, guys, we don't need the comma that we needed last week. Okay, we're just putting it right in. Because she is, gotta go down here. 3rd grade now. Awesome. Easy breezy. All right, kiddos, once you finish this page, you're gonna choose a different one for number 2. I changed my sheets, period. I made my bed. I changed my sheets since I made my bed, unless I made my bed, while I made my bed, before I made my bed, or after I made my bed. Probably I changed my sheets before I made my bed. That one makes the most sense to me. So you would write, I changed my sheets before I made my bed, period. All right, guys, when you're done with this, you are going to put it back in that folder to bring back to school tomorrow, back in your Rockland blue folder. It's really important that we do that, okay? All right, my friends, that's it for language arts today. So you can go get your work done, continue on Google Classroom, doing everything you need to get done, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, I miss you. Have a good day. Bye, friends.